My name is Tony Watley II. I'm the proud son of a military family, and I run a very successful YouTube channel where I talk about movies, anime, TV shows, and top 10 lists on a somewhat daily basis. I've always prided myself in following my family's most treasured motto: always carry yourself with dignity and grace. Always with dignity and grace. So why exactly am I standing in a field with no pants on? Well, it's kind of a long story. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I'm here today to review the anime Arakawa Under the Bridge Seasons 1 and 2. Let's get started. Now, Arakawa Under the Bridge follows Ko Ichinomiya, a successful businessman and seemingly normal guy who ever since he was a child was taught one rule by his father: to never be indebted to another person. In fact, that's their family motto and they have it written on their tie. But this all changes when a random blonde girl saves him from drowning, and now indebted to her, he asks her how he can repay his debt, to which she responds, "You have to be my lover from here on out." And so now begins Ko's new life living under the bridge with his lover by the name of Nino, as well as interacting with the various random, eccentric, and bizarre characters that also live under the bridge. Now, to my everlasting shame, I don't remember who exactly sent this anime to me. I have a sneaking suspicion it was Weston Bab, but I could be wrong. But I do know that this was sent to me in my very last BCG mail in Florida, and I was pretty curious to check it out. It looked like a comedy anime, it looked pretty interesting, and I honestly had no idea what this anime was about, so the possibilities were endless. And about a couple days ago, I did a live chat and I asked you guys, hey, let me take a break from all the terrible anime I'm watching and actually watch a really fun and enjoyable one. So I chose a couple, and the one that people picked was Arakawa Under the Bridge. So I decided to give it a watch. I saw both seasons, and what do I think about it? Well, let's get into it. The animation by Shaft was vibrant and energetic, with a dash of beautiful shots here and there. It reminded me so much of the animation of Bakemonogatari, which, considering it was directed by Akiyuki Shimbo a year after Bakemonogatari, makes a lot of sense. I also really got a kick out of the design of the characters, as they fit the eccentric, crazy tone of the series. My personal favorite of the bunch was Pico's, not only for how cute and adorable she looked, but also her unique hairstyle with a color scheme that went from red to orange. I honestly have never seen anything like that in an anime, and it was so refreshing to see. The voice acting here is very stellar, quite expressive, and as creative as the series itself. In fact, it's some of the best voice acting I've heard in an anime since The Daily Lives of High School Boys. The distinct and unique voices that the actors and actresses did, as well as their ability to change the pitch of their voice at a moment's notice, was very impressive.
あったかいうちにのあの男まさか一発で当たりのガリガリ様を引くとはな。
これで本物の秘宝には当分近づかないでしょう。
ボス、超うまくやったつうかさあの男ちょっとかっこよくね。
よしパトロール開始だ。
All these performances were very convincing and truly added to the comedy of the series. And speaking of the comedy, the real strength of Arakawa Under the Bridge, where it truly excels at, is its comedy. It's excellent and consistent. So many times this anime had me in stitches, laughing my ass off, rolling on the floor, and it's mainly due to the great comedic buildup and the shenanigans and interactions among the characters. Now when I say great comedic buildup, I'm referring to the way that the series would set up a joke, starting off relatively normal, in fact kind of serious, and building up anticipation until they finally hit you with the true reveal that makes you laugh your ass off. Now I won't deny that this does become a bit repetitive and formulaic as the series goes on, but even though I knew what was coming, even though I could guess what the punchline is, the delivery and payoff are so well done that it still made me laugh. And the interactions among the characters were not only comedic gold, they were priceless. Such a joy and delight to see. I enjoyed almost every one of them, and they all have great comedic chemistry with each other. But it's not all goofs and gaffes, as some of the characters also share some solid sentimental scenes with one another, particularly Ko and Nino, to build a strong bond between them. I like these really small moments between them, and it actually helped to develop their relationship and make it feel convincing, make it believable, and actually feel a spark between them. And this should go without saying, but I thoroughly enjoyed a majority of the characters, as they were unique and distinct. It's honestly one of the best comedic ensembles I've seen in an anime in a very long time, coming very close to the ensemble cast of School Rumble and Baka and Tess, consisting of not only our two leads, but also Hoshi, the star-faced musician, Sister, the cross-dressing soldier, Chief, the believable Kappa, Shiro, the white line walker, Maria, the beautiful yet blunt insult-spewing sadist, and many more. But as much as I thoroughly enjoyed watching Arakawa Under the Bridge, I did have a couple issues with it, starting with the story seemed to be building up to something, but it just never really got to where it wanted to be, leaving the audience completely unfulfilled and with so many questions. One of the biggest plot points left unanswered is at the end of season 1, they introduced this mysterious character who seemed quite powerful and menacing. He had all of these connections to kind of get in the way of both Ko and his father. And I thought, oh wow, so is he going to be like the main antagonist of this series? Are we going to see him behind the scenes pulling the strings and all that stuff? I was pretty curious to see where they were going with this character. They also introduced the fact that there is a hidden spaceship somewhere in the city. It's not really clear where exactly this spaceship is, but you see Amazon standing in front of it and she's like, it's time for something. And I was like, oh wow, this is pretty interesting. So at the end of season 1, they set up all these interesting things, and I thought that they were going to explore them a lot further in the second season, but they don't. We never really learned the man's identity, what his plans were, what's his connection with the people under the bridge, most specifically Nino, and where exactly the spaceship is, and what is Amazon's connection with the spaceship. We don't even learn if Amazon's actually working alongside this mysterious person. I have a feeling that she is, but it's not clarified. There's no clarification to say, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Amazon is spying on the people under the bridge for Mysterious Guy. Another unfulfilling and disappointing plotline was that most of season 2 was focused on the gang getting ready to set off on a journey to Venus, with a heavy focus on exploring Nino's backstory, which got me really excited because out of all the characters in the show that I really wanted to learn about, their history, their backstory, where they came from, Nino was the character I wanted to learn about. Is she actually from Venus? Or does she have a much more tragic backstory than that? And from the first episode, it's heavily hinted that yes, we're going to learn a lot more about Nino, so I got really excited. In fact, there are a lot of characters in the show that I feel like have very interesting backstories that I feel like the show should have and could have explored. But more on that later. So yeah, I got really excited about the fact that we're going to learn about Nino, her history and all that stuff, and then the idea of them all heading out to Venus. I thought that's how the second season was going to end, with the big reveal that yes, she is from Venus and they're actually heading to Venus, or the fact that she's actually not from Venus, she made it all up, which I'm assuming that is the case. But the thing is, there's no payoff by the end. It even ends so abruptly in the middle of their training, and you don't even get to see them heading off or learning about Nino's past, and that upset me. At least give us some closure. At least give us something. It literally ends with a battle between Sister and Maria and some small moments with the characters here and there, and that's not how you end the second season, especially with all of this build-up to the fact that they're going to head to Venus. You should end with them either heading to Venus or some big reveal near the end. There is no big reveal. It's just, oh yeah, the characters, they're doing their shenanigans, having some fun, and that's just not acceptable. Another big problem with Arakawa Under the Bridge was a lack of development and exploration of the characters and their past. Besides Ko and a little bit of Hoshi, we learn very little about the other residents under the bridge. Sure, we get hints to backstories, but never the full picture. And you know what? I can understand if the main focus was about the comedy and putting the characters in silly situations. They didn't want to take a dramatic turn whatsoever. I could totally understand that. But if you're going to hint to a possibly interesting backstory that might have a hint of drama to it, you damn well better show it by the end. And in my humble opinion, I thought it would have been so enriching to learn the history of these characters, even though it goes against the comedic nature of the show. And honestly, I don't have a problem with comedy anime taking a much more dramatic turn if I feel like it's deserved and it's necessary. In this show, it was definitely deserved, and I thought it would have been very necessary to enrich the characters in this show. I would have loved to know where they came from, how they end up living on the bridges, what caused them to want to hide their faces or be part of this community. Anything. I would have loved to learn more about these characters because they're just that fascinating. But instead of the anime giving us a buffet of interesting character stories, they just leave us with tiny little breadcrumbs on the ground that can't satisfy a growling stomach. But not every character in the anime was worthwhile, as some of them didn't really stand out to me and weren't all that necessary to the story and the characters. Like this one manga artist guy that shows up in the second season. Why was he in the show? Like, he had an interaction with Nino that I think we saw briefly, and he hates people from Venus. And we learn in one episode that he's a manga artist, and it all builds up to the fact that he wants to write a manga about the people living under the bridge that performs terribly. And that's the punchline to his story. I just felt like all of his moments were complete fluff, didn't really add much to the series, and easily could have been taken out. He wasn't that interesting of a character. He wasn't as exuberant or as interesting as the other characters that lived under the bridge. One character that had an air of mystery and intrigue to her, giving her so much potential, but never quite living up to said potential, was this character, Amazon. Now, when we're first introduced to this character at the end of season 1, I got pretty excited because I wanted to learn more about the character. Who was she? Why is she standing in front of the spaceship? What's her relationship with Nino and Venus? What's her relationship with the mysterious person? There's so much of this character that I couldn't wait to learn more about her. Then we're finally introduced to her, and she's basically just like everybody else that lives under the bridge. Zany, eccentric, weird, and bizarre. And you know what? Fine, I'm okay with that. Just so long as we can kind of go back to the interesting elements of the character and what is her main purpose in the story. She seemed to serve a bigger purpose, yet it's never explored in the second season. They mostly resort to making her fall in love with Ko, and then that's it. That's her main character story in the second season, instead of having this whole thing where she's working with the mysterious guy or working on the spaceship or trying to bring Nino to the spaceship and alienate her from everybody else. Why did they build this character up to be something very significant, something of great importance? Why was she standing in front of that spaceship and then we get no explanation as to why she was standing in front of that spaceship? Why did she answer a phone call at the end of episode 2, and then we never learned who she talked to at the end of episode 2? No answers at all with this character. It ties in with another problem I had early on, but it just really irked me because this character could have been so great they just squandered her. The one bright side to the character is that she was very entertaining. She had her moments here and there. But she could have been so much more than just an entertaining character. The final issues I have also pertain to the characters and Season 2, as I feel like some characters needed more screen time, more development given to them, more focus given to them. Like, Ko's father makes one extremely brief appearance in the second season, and I felt like his scenes in the first season were so well done, and I would have loved to see him interact with his son in the second season, kind of have them reconcile or something, but no. He makes one really brief scene talking to an assistant, and then we never see him again. What a waste. He was such an interesting character in the first season. Why wasn't he brought back in the second? And also, I felt like there should have been more time given to Ko and Nino's relationship. Now granted, we're given a lot of good scenes with them. Well, not a lot. We're given some good scenes with them. But not enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm totally satisfied with this romantic relationship. In fact, some of the funniest scenes in the show is when they're interacting, and I personally felt like they should have utilized that more. They should have took advantage of these moments between these two characters because they were gold, and they should have been the main focus of the story, their relationship. But we only get glimmers of it here and there, which is very disappointing. Overall, despite it being a very flawed anime, I still had a ton of fun watching Arakawa Under the Bridge, and I will say that it is an enjoyable anime that's worth checking out if you thoroughly enjoy watching comedy anime. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Arakawa Under the Bridge. I would love to know what you guys thought about this anime as well. Did you love it to death? Is it one of your favorite comedy anime of all time? Is it one of your favorite anime directed by Akiyuki Shimbo? Or did you find it really boring and dull and way too weird and bizarre that you just couldn't get into it? And let me know, who is, in your opinion, the best ensemble cast in a comedy anime? Comment below, let me know. But anyway, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Ball II, the bizarre and zany guy known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.